Let's see if he can find the redemption he needs. And what a run from Ilqm as well, right? You can really never count this guy out. And I say this, and I sometimes count him out. And towards the end of the game, he just finds a miracle win. But he goes straight to the loser's bracket at the end of day number 1. Claws his way through the loser's bracket in day 2, and now gets a rematch against the guy that took him out in the first place. Here we go, game number 1, a best-of-5 series. Ashtonash Azumarill into Ilqm's Lapras.
And we're just in it now. The Shadow Primate Corviknight Core has made a return in this losers finals rematch from yesterday. Ashtonash was able to take it comfortably on the backs of that Shadow Primate and Corviknight. Let's see how it's going to play out on Championship Sunday.
And this is a solid situation for Ashtonash, in my opinion. He's probably going to save the shields for the Primate. The side wave damage is really annoying for this Primate to deal with, and also without close combat, without any fighting charge attacks, it's going to be much harder to take out this Lapras if it's at full health. Now with some chip damage from the Azumarill, it's not too bad, and Ashtonash knows that he doesn't really win this matchup against the Lapras because of that side wave damage, because of that bulk, but I think he's okay soft losing it.
This is an interesting adjustment from Ilqm. I feel like he is running ABA kind of weak to Corviknight, but he's really respecting the Shadow Primate. He's bringing his 3 best answers to that Shadow Primate. Maybe the Lapras is a little worse than the Claydol. As a swap comes into that Shadow Primate, have to give up with the Protect Shield here, and now the Primate is going to try to get an energy advantage, but it's probably going to be met by the Azumarill.
Wait,
no, the jump up.
Comes in with the jump up. It's actually a really heads-up play from Ilqm, expecting the Corviknight in the back. Even though he's behind energy, he's up a shield though, and that's actually a pretty good spot for Ashtonash to be in, but he's going to outpace to the areas before the Ice Punches reach. Let's see what Ashtonash does.
And he was able to bait there, not at the second Ice Punch yet. There's only 1 Protect Shield remaining for Ashtonash. He's going to give it up right here, but the thing is, you can get the second Protect Shield from the jump bluff, but you can't get the triple attacks before the aerial ace. But your timer might be back up. You could swap out on an aerial ace on the next one.
Yeah, is it close? It's almost there. Let's see.
It's almost there.
Ashtonash trying to reach for it. Not quite there yet.
No.
And can't swap over. Ilqm is going to take out this Primate. And now Ashtonash has a more uphill battle too. There's a full health Azumarill in the back. Jump up can still hit pretty hard, and you got a Lapras for even a catch potential.
And this is doing no fast attack pressure. It is going to be triple resisted, just doing 1 damage per sand attack here. The acrobatics is going to chunk into this Corviknight, but not do enough to do half of it. Here comes the Azumarill, but that's kind of the chip damage that you need. Bubbles plus the Ice Beam is going to do enough. These bubbles actually kind of chunk into Corviknight. I feel like Corviknight might be a low stamina Pokemon.
Yeah, Ilqm's got to watch out for potential Ice Beam catch. So the Azumarill on the back still has a decent amount of health. He just throws the Ice Beam right away. Knows that it's hard to avoid a catch from a one-turn user there, and maybe thinking Ashtonash is going to expect him to overfarm a bit before throwing it. He decides to throw it right away. Corviknight almost at the next Sky Attack. Can he get to it? Saves it actually for the end for that jump bluff.
Yeah, and can you get enough pressure into this Azumarill? I think you're slightly out of Play Rough range, but Play Rough plus Bubble is pretty much going to knock you out here. I think Ashtonash knows it. Going to be able to take the Play Rough, but just a couple more bubbles, and you will be knocked out, and you get a Ice Beam off, but this is not enough because you need a charge attack to knock out this Azumarill, but you also need a charge attack to knock out the jump bluff.
Yeah, and this Corviknight is just way too low at this point. Even the jump buff can handle it. I mean, even the side wave energy or damage from the Lapras will do a decent amount too. Ashtonash going to try to farm up as much as possible. Throws on charge attack timing as well too, so does get the Iron Head off. But even if it takes out the Azumarill, there's just too much Pokemon in the back, and it's not even enough.
It doesn't even knock out. Wow, the bulk of Azumarill here. And Ilqm, who went down to Ashtonash in day number 1, is going to 3-ball flex to start off the losers finals.
Yeah, that's the momentum you want and you need if you're Ilqm. And again, I mean, he's been playing on point all day long in day number 2. So all these extra reps getting him prepared for this matchup. Corviknight is strong into his team, but it's not unstoppable, right? It's really the jump up that really struggles into it, but even the acrobatics still does a decent amount of damage, and you just slowly chip at this Corviknight. Nothing really beats it head-to-head very consistently, but if you tag team it, it could be pretty good. And I think that the matchup swung more in Ilqm's direction, in my opinion, when he safe swapped the Primate, because he had to shield the Sparkling Aria. If he didn't have this Burner Shield there, then yes, like you said, Primate can win in all the even shields, right? And against the Azumarill too, but because he was down a shield, the jump ball was able to beat him. and he couldn't swap out in time for the Corviknight.
Well, it was also a smart play to swap into the jump bluff because then you avoid that Corviknight matchup.
Yep.
And the fact that most trainers would like to bring in a Azumarill into the Primeape instead of the jump bluff, especially if that Primeape has a little bit of energy, because you just don't want to deal with the ice punches. You don't want to deal with all that damage. You can soak a lot of that energy into the Azumarill, but Ilqm knows that this core of Corviknight and Shadow Primeape is probably coming in most of the battles, and is coming in here once again in game number 2, but an adjustment, a Pokemon we haven't seen in a while, Clodsire, and swapping in on that Rage Fist with the Shadow Jump Bluff.
I love that play from Ilqm, knowing that Ashtonash wants to boost up this Primeape as soon as possible to make sure that he could take out the Slappers. Now comes in with the Clodsire instead, expecting maybe the Azumarill in the back, and in this matchup, is a pretty solid matchup for the Clodsire. Sludge Bomb is going to go unshielded. Ilqm maybe expecting the Corviknight back. I mean, you gotta know it's in the back at this point.
Yeah, and that super effective damage doesn't knock out, but a couple more Poison Sticks will. You can throw an Acrobatics into this. It will chunk into the Clodsire, but Clodsire is going to get a Poison Sting down. It's going to be able to throw energy into the Lapras and maybe even get back their Switch Timer here, because you don't want to get Reverse Farm down with Sidewave, but you're going to be able to throw a lot of damage into this Lapras. Maybe then you pivot, and we can see Azumarill's in the back. That Clodsire is still going to have a lot of play in this matchup.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, Corviknight has play into everything too.
Yeah,
so
just pivot Corviknight, right?
As long as you chip, you bring things down. I think Ashtonash feels pretty comfortable with even just giving up switch advantage, swapping in and out, weaving through in these matchups. In comes the Sparkling Aria. Does Ashtonash shield? Yeah, he is going to shield here too. You can get so much damage off on this Azumarill, even if you don't beat it with the Primeape, and that's what Corviknight needs to help weaken and soften up this Azumarill. Azumarill comes in right away. Don't want to give too much energy to this Primeape. First Rage Fist is coming through.
And I feel like at this point, he's probably going to use his Protect Shields on this Primeape, because if he can ramp this up, he can get a lot of damage into the Azumarill and then even hold on to a little bit of the Primeape. Actually, probably not, because these bubbles are just whittling down the Primeape. I probably think you're going to let this Primeape go, but you don't necessarily want to come in with the Clodsire and take Ice Beam damage, but you still have that Corviknight, which just has fantastic matchups against literally all of Ilqm's Pokemon.
And another Ice Beam comes through. Does Ashtonash decide to spend his final shield? I wouldn't be surprised if he does, and here it comes, because he either grabs a shield or takes out this Azumarill, and now Ilqm is probably going to have to throw up his first shield here, but there's not a lot of health left on this Azumarill and Lapras.
And there is that Protect Shield from Ilqm. Is there going to be a swap out to try to Sidewave down? It looked like he was going to try to swap, but there was a swap from Ashtonash trying to outpace into the Sludge Bomb here. Going to have to give up your last Protect Shield of the battle, probably, if you're Ilqm. And there has been a huge shift in momentum. Ilqm dominated game number 1. Now Ashtonash has the 3 Pokemon remaining in this game number 2.
And Ilqm forced to throw this Sparkling Aria, but he knows what's in the back. It's that Flying Steel Bird Corviknight, and it's so bulky. It has got so much health left here, and I don't think Ilqm has what it takes to take it out here.
And the Sparkling Aria is not nearly enough to be able to take out a Corviknight here. We will see how much damage this does. This is kind of a newer interaction. Obviously, this is an attack that was added to Lapras in Might Mastery Update that doesn't do too much into the Corviknight. The Corviknight can just Sand Attack down, take one more Sparkling Aria, but just bank all this energy. Corviknight is just so bulky, especially in the charge attacks. Does feel like it's vulnerable to fast attack pressure, but the charge attacks just do nothing in the Corviknight.
Oh, I like this play from Ashtonash as well. A little bit cheeky play, but knows that he went charge attack priority against the Azumarill, so wants to weaken the Azumarill as much as possible. Now goes for the Iron Head to win that charge attack priority and take out the Azumarill, evening up the series 1-1.
A little risky in case that Iron Head wasn't available, but you do win that charge attack priority. It was available. You do tie up this series, and it is now 1-1. Ashtonash lost that first game, but he just has such a perfect team composition in the Ilqm. Corviknight is unchecked. It's strong against Ilqm's entire team. Azumarill is probably the best matchup into that Corviknight. Ilqm is forced to play the same Pokemon of Lapras, Azumarill, Shadow Jump Bluff every single battle.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for Ilqm for sure, but I mean, Ilqm's been in tough position before, and even yesterday when he lost against Ashtonash, still able to take a game off him, lost 1-2, now 1-1. I mean, honestly, it's still anyone's game in my opinion. Ashtonash, with a very creative team that he mentioned yesterday, he got it from, or maybe today actually, he mentioned it, he got it from Ilqm, one of the most creative team builders in our circuit.
Right, and remember, this is going to be a best-of-5 series, so you can't clinch it up with this next game victory to win the match. You need to get 3 games to move on into the grand finals for both of these trainers. Will it be a rematch of Ashtonash versus Out of Pocket, or can Ilqm overcome all the odds of coming on the loser side of the bracket and getting through all these top trainers to make it to the grand finals?
All right, and Ashtonash actually going straight for the Racers, not even going for the Ice Punch. Maybe he knows that this matchup is actually not too bad for Primate. I don't know it myself though, but he is going to spend the shield. Ilqm taking a risky play here, going for the Drapion lead with a Claydol in the back, pretty weak to that Corviknight.
And both of these trainers just throwing as soon as they have energy. Will it happen once again? Yes, and this will force the Protect Shield from Ilqm. The first Protect Shield from Ilqm, and you're definitely out of Aqua Tail range, but Aqua Tail plus Poison Stings will mean that Drapion could win the alignment here. Do you see both the Protect Shield? Yes, Ashtonash knows, I don't need a Protect Shield for a Corviknight. I'm gonna use all my Protect Shields for my Primate.
All right, let's see if he can Cry Chop down, or might even go for the catch. No, in comes the Claydol instead. He has a double boosted Primate though. You're probably gonna see a shield, and in comes the shield from the Claydol.
And now do you maybe throw a Karate Chop and then go into your Azumarill? And no, just going straight into your Azumarill so you don't have to take any damage. Leave a little bit of health on that Shadow Primate for later. The Azumarill's gonna have a good matchup here, but since you're a little bit ahead on energy, you have to get debuffed by this Rock Tomb.
Yeah, debuff is going to come through. Next Ice Beam, though, will land before the next debuff comes from Ilqm. Going to get as much bubble damage as possible before the next Rock Tomb is reached. And it's going decent amount of super effect damage. Not enough to take the Claydol out. Claydol will get to another Rock Tomb. Switch timers are desynced though. I wouldn't be surprised if Ilqm throws a Rock Tomb and then switches over to his own Azumarill to start getting some energy lead. Ashtonash knows it's probably the Azumarill in the back, and Ilqm knows it's definitely the Corviknight in the back.
But by the time that you swap out, can Ashtonash also swap out? No, he's actually just going to throw the Play Rough, even though it's double debuffed. 2 stages of attack because of the 2 Rock Tombs that the Azumarill endured. That does nothing into the Azumarill, but it gives a little bit of an advantage against the Azumarill into the Corviknight, which remember, Corviknight can win the zeros against the Azumarill.
And I mean, even on top of that too, he already got some chip damage against the Azumarill. So unless the Azumarill gets to an extra Ice Beam, then that zero shield situation doesn't usually happen. Ashtonash is in a pretty good position. Both trainers though have all 3 of their Pokemon still. They're just swapping in and out, which means that there's so many potentials for catches down the road.
And it's a great sign for the meta when it gets to losers finals and these trainers can just pivot and it's not hard punished by the other's Pokemon's alignment. And here comes the Ice Beam. We know this isn't enough to take out the bulk of the Corviknight, but your timer is back up. Do try to swap onto attack with this low health Pokemon. No, instead of swapping, you're gonna have to take the Sky Attack.
It's definitely not over yet. I mean, you could get some Sand Attack damage both on the Claydol and the Drapion, but I don't know if you can actually get to another move. In comes the Claydol, and here comes Ashen.
Oh, can you get the Poison Sting down, though? That would be huge. Can Ilqm secure it with the Poison Sting down? He does. He's back in this battle. Suddenly, there is a little health on the Primate. Primate is not able to get the Karate Chop, but you're still vulnerable to that Sand Attack damage.
Super effective Sand Attack is going to come through. Double resistant Poisoning is not going to be enough to take out the Corviknight. The question is, can you Mud Slap down? Oh, no! He got to the Aqua Tail!
Out of nowhere, Ilqm holds on to secure the Aqua Tail. 1 HP in a dream of knocking out Corviknight.
Man, even Ashtonash has a smile about that one. How many times has Ilqm been in a situation where you think he just can't get to the move, and he does to secure the victory? I mean, that you just got to give it up to Ilqm on that one. Even Ashtonash's like, hey, man, well played. I don't know what I can say about that one. I did everything I could. And that's the thing. Both players are playing so on points, but it's the smallest little details.
2025 just feels like the season of Ilqm because everything just goes his way. He's been able to be so consistent off his brilliant play, but when his back is against the wall, it feels like when things are so close, just inches away from defeat, he pulls out victories against the team composition that challenges him the most in this tournament. He lost yesterday to it. It feels like he could have lost that battle right there, but instead, he is 1 game victory away from moving on to the grand finals.
And the plot armor is strong with Ilqm, and so is his PvP skills. Look at that, literally 1 HP. That's a 1-turn Sand Attack move, half a second, and Ilqm loses that game. I mean, there's still, to be fair, there is still the Claydol in the back, but resisted Mud Slap, and it's a lot slower. probably doesn't win that one. It's hard to say. But Ilqm doesn't want to mess around and find out.
Yeah, I think Corviknight probably gets to a charge attack because it had enough health to take that Mud Slap damage and finish off that game. So it really just was one sand attack away from victory there, as now suddenly Ashtonash was in those winners finals, and now he has one game loss away from being eliminated here. He might be one of the best trainers in Pokemon GO Championship Series to not have won it all yet. And he has such an awesome team composition here. If anyone could do it, it's him. He could win 2 straight games to move on to the grand finals.
Yeah, consistency is not enough just for him. You know, he wants it all the way. Ilqm used to be in that spot. He's like, I know what you're feeling here, but I'm not giving to you this easily. Here we go. Game number 4. Match point for Ilqm. It's going to be the Shadow Primeape into the Clay Doll.
And it's just funny because Ashtonash is just running these same Pokemon over and over again because they're so strong. It's just what order will it be in, right? Yeah. Because it's always going to be the Shadow Primeape, the Corviknight, and the Azumarill. The same thing here.
Sprinkle in a little Clodsire.
Oh yeah, sprinkle in a little Clodsire. That was actually a great adjustment, but for the most part, it has been that Azumarill.
Well, honestly, the Clodsire was the only game he won. So maybe Clodsire is the way, but not going to be the case right here as he gets the Clay Doll in the lead, going for that 1-0 shield win here with the Primeape. Do you shield if you're Ilqm? If you don't shield, he's going to give up switch advantage. However, not the end of the world for him. If you chip down this Azumarill, though, that could be pretty good. He already knows what's in the back, or he knows at least one of them, which is the Corviknight. He's just trying to think, is it the Azumarill this time, or is it the Clodsire? Yeah,
no, I was seeing if maybe Ashtonash was going to bank this energy on the Primeape and try to swap out, but he decided to throw it into the Azumarill because they chunked the Azumarill there. Now the Ice Beam is going to be coming through to the Corviknight. Remember, Ashtonash only has 1 Protect Shield remaining. Ilqm does have that Lapras in the back, and you've successfully baited out that Corviknight, actually bringing in the Lapras.
Yeah, this is interesting for Ashtonash. Ilqm does have the shield advantage here, but he's going to be able to chip down this Lapras enough. The thing is, the Lapras is not that scared of the Primeape because it's already gotten a decent amount of health down, and you probably could Sidewave down before the next Rage Fist is reached. And if he just keeps putting on this pressure against the Lapras, it could be tough for Ilqm.
And he gets a Protect Shield there with the Iron Head. The worst attack, you're not quite at your timer yet. There's one Sparkling Aria ready. I don't think this is going to be enough to knock out the Corviknight. You do have your switch timer available, but maybe you want to just take all this energy into your Corviknight. If you can force the energy out. No, actually decided to swap in the Azumarill. I love that play because all this energy is resisted.
Yeah, but Ilqm is going to be able to switch out soon here and bank maybe a Sparkling Aria for later, which is going to be pretty good for him. I think he's in a pretty solid position, actually, in this situation. He has a Sparkling Aria. Does he try to catch a play up potentially on his Azumarill? No, actually throws another Sparkling Aria, so he's mostly energy drive.
Yeah, and taking this resisted damage, it's just going to be another in-game where the little decisions matter because it's so close. It's 1 Protect Shield versus 1 Protect Shield, 2 water types, and actually getting the Protect Shield with this Play Rough. There's another Azumarill in the back for Ilqm. You have your timer available, but first you're going to want to throw this Sparkling Aria and maybe even try to get to 2 of them in time, but you can't. The Play Rough is available for Ashtonash and no shield.
Ilqm not going to get to the second Sparkling Aria before the Play Rough comes through. Does Ashtonash throw this right away? And he does. He doesn't want to get hit by the Sparkling Aria. That's a lot of chip damage on the Azumarill, but you can't bubble this down. Ilqm, though, has brought the Azumarill down to a territory where you could potentially even bait with Ice Beam. Still 3 Pokemon remaining on the side of Ashtonash. Still a lot of play here, but they're all in the red.
Well, the thing is, they're on equal energy right now. It might come down to charge attack priority, but this was a bait with Ice Beam, meaning that Ilqm can get to that next attack of the Ice Beam before the double play rough. So this is brutal for Ashtonash. Ashtonash kind of knows it right now. He has to either get to double play rough or get to energy on a different Pokemon. The other Pokemon just don't have enough health remaining unless he swaps on an Ice Beam. He has an opportunity to do so right now, and he misses it, but it forces the energy anyway. Ashtonash is back.
Ashtonash is back. Can the Azumarill get to this crucial Play Rough on the side of Ashtonash? He has a little bit energy left.
One bubble
away, gets to the Play Rough, and we're going to a Game 5 in this Losers Finals.
We wouldn't want it any other way as Ashtonash secures the knockout to tie it up. I love that swap. He was actually shaking his head like, how am I going to get out of this situation? But he swapped to the Corviknight, and the thing is, Ilqm threw straight away, kind of worried that the Corviknight would get to a charge attack. I'm actually not positive that the Corviknight would have gotten to a charge attack.
Yeah, it's wow, what a series. I don't even know what to say. I mean, like 30 seconds ago, I said, hey, this game actually looks good for Ilqm. For once, I thought that Ilqm had it, and that was the one that he lost, too. What incredible rivalry between these two players as well. You can see they're smiling, they're laughing, they give respect to each other, too, right? I mean, this is a fun game to play when you're both this good, and it's that close of a matchup and even. I mean, Worlds competitor, Ilqm, and very likely to join him at Worlds is Ashtonash. I mean, he has 1,000+ points. There's no way he doesn't go, but
I want to see, could that Corviknight have gotten to a charge attack? I'm not sure. Bubbles do chunk into Corviknight, and Corviknight was energy dry, but because Ilqm threw that energy, that just guaranteed Ashtonash just needed to absorb one bubble to tie up the series, and he did so.
Yeah, he had a little bit. He was maybe a quarter to a third to the Iron Head. It's also possible, and we've all been there, where you're already reaching for the Ice Beam, and you already like go to click it when you see the swap, so it looks like it wasn't a catch, but it might have been, in a way, kind of a catch. All right, here we go. Game number 5 here. It's going to be the Azumarill into the Shadow Drapion. The winner of this will be challenging Out of Pocket in the Grand Finals. So much online for both players.
And the first crunch is not going through, actually swapping on the play rough, so it isn't the resisted Ice Beam, so at least you throw the proper energy into the Azumarill, but Ilqm does this with Shadow Drapion often. He banked all of that energy. He has almost 100 energy, if not 100, on that Shadow Drapion lurking in the back line.
It's rare you see a fighting type counter swapping a fairy type, but that's what Shadow Primeape can do in these situations. The chip damage with the play rough was definitely nice, though. It makes this matchup a little bit easier for Ashtonash. But Ilqm was able to get a full bubble through when that play rough was being thrown. So a slight energy advantage for Ilqm there.
The interesting thing is these trainers are talking a lot right now. I don't know if they're talking because they saw some sort of interaction. I don't know if they're just talking about the game, but this is a Game 5, winner goes to the Grand Finals. They're chatting about something, and there's something to chat about right there. Is Azumarill is able to endure, so you had to throw the back-to-back Rage Fist to ensure the knockout.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Ashtonash might have lost a turn on the swap in there because it looked like a bubble came through. Catches the Aqua Tail, though, on the Azumarill.
A funky Game 5 here. Both these trainers kind of regretting some of their decisions, and it could be anyone's battle at this point. And now actually just going for the crunch here into the Azumarill. The pressure's getting to Ashtonash a little bit. He is so close to his dream of getting first place in a regional, but he has to get through Ilqm, which feels like the season should be named after him at this point.
Yeah, and Ilqm's been there as well too in this pressure situation. This is going to set up Ilqm for a really solid potential farm down. Let's see if he can do it. He has so much energy now.
Wow.
You can see he's going to go for it. Ashtonash can't reach another move. Wow, what are we going to do here at this point? I mean, you probably got to come in, farm down with Corviknight because you don't have any energy on the Primeape, but that's going to put Ilqm so far ahead.
Yeah, and Ashtonash kind of said something there. It's just too many times, not only in this game, but in this season, where Ilqm is able to just get all of this energy with the Shadow Drapion and just hold it in the back to close out battles. He's doing it once again. This is 2 times this battle that Shadow Drapion has been fully loaded on energy, and now here comes the swap in the Primeape. Gonna have to use the last Protect Shield of the battle into the Aqua Tail.
The question is this really over? I don't know. I don't want to say anything yet because I've been wrong. It's way too many times here. But in comes the Claydol, going to try to farm down, but doesn't. I don't think he can get to the second Rage Fist.
He needs it. If he wants any chance to win, he needs to be able to Karate Chop and get to a Rage Fist here. Looks like Ashtonash is going to go for it, and he doesn't get it because the Mudslap damage does register to knock out the Primeape.
Wow, and in comes the Rock Tomb. This is going to spell disaster for Ashtonash. It's going to do a lot of neutral damage, and the problem is you can't sand attack down this Claydol. 1 Sky Attack's not enough, 2 Sky Attack's not enough either after a debuff. And it looks like Ilqm is going back to the Grand Finals and has another shot at a title this season.
Congratulations to Ilqm. He will be facing Out of Pocket in our Grand Finals of the biggest Pokemon GO regional in championship series history.